As always, welcome everyone. Welcome everyone. Welcome to the World Affairs Council of Palm Beach.
Learn from distinguished guest speakers. Engage in hard-hitting discussions about current events. And be part of the global community.
My name is Will Todman, and I work at a think tank in Washington, D.C. called the Center for Strategic and International Studies, CSIS. We are a nonpartisan research organization that tries to provide more nuanced ideas for foreign policy and international affairs around the world.
What initially inspired you to study Arabic, Hebrew, and Persian, and how have those languages influenced your career and understanding of the region?
When I was growing up, there were a lot of world events that happened in the Middle East or emanating from the Middle East. So 9/11, and then the invasion of Iraq, and then later on, the Arab Spring protests and revolutions as well. And so I thought, okay, if I want to better understand this region, then I need to try and speak the language and understand. But I do think there is something that perhaps you have experienced as well, that when you can speak to people in their own language, I think it really opens them up in a different way. It sort of shows that you've taken the time to be able to communicate with them and to try to understand more about their culture and their background. And so it has facilitated some really interesting conversations that I've had in different parts of the region as well.
What advice would you give to young professionals looking to pursue a career in Middle East policy and research?
There are lots of resources that can help you get a better understanding of the region. Just following the news is a good way to understand some of the main issues, but also seeking out opportunities to hear from the people in the region.
Introduce yourself and tell us about your background.
Yeah, my name is Frank Holder. I am an Air Force Academy graduate, and then from there I took a Fulbright scholarship to Argentina, and I did a master's degree and a PhD in international relations, business, and political science.
You serve in the US Air Force as a political military analyst and special agent. Can you tell us more about the nature of your work?
We have a counterintelligence responsibility, so our job is basically to catch spies. So I did get to participate in at least one spy catching exercise, which was really interesting. And the other one is all the things I learned about cybersecurity.
What skill do you believe are most crucial for students to build in order to follow a similar career path to yours?
The most important skill you can have, because you can't change your luck, you can't change the timing of things. The only thing you can change is how hard you work. So to me, your work ethic is probably the most important skill to develop.
We tend to be affected by things that happen in Latin America here in the US, but we haven't been particularly good at reaching out and doing things to try and solve those problems, or to effectively eliminate some of the things that are problematic for the US.
My name is Matt Brown. I work for the Nature Conservancy. I think I've been doing conservation for almost 34 years now. My undergraduate degree is biology, and then I have a master's in water resource management, which is a lot of math and engineering.
Can you explain the mission of the Nature Conservancy and some of its core values?
Sure. The Nature Conservancy is a global conservation organization. We work in 81 countries around the world. Our mission is to protect the lands and waters upon which all life depends. We have a vision of the Earth, which is to create a livable planet, healthy communities, and thriving nature. And really we are doing that by addressing what we think are the two biggest threats to our Earth today, which is the loss of biodiversity and our changing climate.
How important is public engagement in conservation efforts, and what are some ways can people get involved?
Public engagement is critical. Our lead scientist at the Nature Conservancy is a climate scientist, and her refrain is, you just got to talk about it a lot more. Every dinner table conversation, every time you're on a bus or a subway, or anytime you're in public, you got to talk about climate change and bring more people into the picture. And there are little things that we can all do. You can source energy for your home or for your car or your transportation by using public transportation, trying to be electric as much as possible. Asking the question, where does my power come from for my home? Is it actually sourced from fossil fuels, or is it potentially sourced from some renewable source? The choices we make about food. Food production accounts for 30% of our global carbon emissions. So where you source your food, there's a whole, I'm sure you've heard of like the farm to fork or the local, how you support local food production.
If you'd like to see more, visit worldaffairs.palmbeach.org.